Hello, it's Ricardo and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Lots of revelations have been made today on Frontier Unlocked, the monthly show where we're given tidbits into the roadmap of Elite Dangerous, and in particular of all the announcements, perhaps one of the most interesting ones is what's actually going to be going on with engineering. Now, Elite Dangerous in its core has always been about exploration, trade and combat, but with the introduction years back of engineering, a whole new layer of depth and complexity was added to the game. This mechanic, while initially daunting, has become an integral part of a commander's journey to the stars, and in turn to trick up his ship. So what is engineering? Well, essentially engineering allows players to modify and upgrade their ship components. These modifications can drastically improve the ship performance in specific areas such as combat, exploration, defense, jump range, heat dissipation, you name it. It's a system that rewards a player's skill and ability to grind material, and therefore resource management. Now, engineering was introduced in Elite Dangerous with the release of the Horizons expansion pack. This update brought a significant overhaul to the game, adding planetary landings, multi-crew, and most importantly for players, engineering. This initial implementation was met with a mix of excitement and, to be fair, a little bit of confusion. The system was somewhat complex, requiring players to gather specific materials, then unlock the engineers, then find the engineers, and then unlock different grades of engineering, and therefore understand these intricate details of each upgrade. This was quite the steep learning curve, but the rewards were undeniable. Now, engineering has undoubtedly changed the meta of Elite Dangerous. Previously, the best ship was often simply the most expensive one. Now, a well-engineered starter ship can outperform a stock high-end model, with the right commander, of course. This has leveled the playing field for many players, making the game more accessible and rewarding. Now it's more than often you'll see a tricked-up Sidewinder just taking out an Anaconda. Now, this balance of power is made possible, or this tweak to balance of power is made possible with engineering. But now, with Frontier Unlocked, we've heard there's now a rebalance, a rejig, a redo in engineering, following update 18.08, or how it's now going to be called, the Type 8 update. Let's go through the announcement, let's break it down and decode what engineering is now going to be like in Elite Dangerous. There were many revelations in Frontier Unlocked this month, the month being July 2024. Frontier came out and stated that it realises that players are not always into combat. They're not always into other aspects of the game. And is engineering kind of getting in the way? They've listened to people saying, oh, it's a bit of a grind, isn't it? And thought, what can they do? Frontier also make a statement in regards to the Thargoid War, and what they say is, as they get closer to the potential, the word potential was used, end of the war, that they were making some adjustments alongside a wider rebalance of engineering, which we'll come on to in a minute. Basically to give people more rewards for engaging, but this time it's engineering materials, not credits. And I've often said that materials are the true currency in Elite Dangerous, not credits. You can get credits for anything these days. Now, from the next update, which is for some 18.08 or the Type 8 update, Frontier have stated that just by taking part in the Thargoid War, for actually contributing to a Thargoid controlled or invasion system, will now reward engineering materials upon that completion of the system. Now, all grade 4 raw and grade 5 encoded / manufactured materials will still be edgeable as rewards, which you can then trade down to whatever materials you may need at your friendly neighbourhood material trader. The rewards will be determined by a percentile individual commander contribution. What does this mean? Well, you do more work in a particular system, and that moves into a different state, a recovery state for example, and it comes out of controlled or invasion, then you're going to get more materials as a reward. Now there are currently 3 tiers. And this basically follows the same sort of method of what we've seen in the community goals. The higher the tier, the more you get. The lower the tier, well, you may not get anything at all. The basic tiers being, you know, a token gesture. So what are you going to get for taking part? Well, Tier 1, the top 25% of contributors, will get 120 materials. Tier 2, the top 75 will get 60, and Tier 3, the bottom 25%, will get 18. Now 2 materials will be picked at random from each category, that being raw, encoded or manufactured, for 6 different reward materials that you'll be rewarded. So just to reiterate this, just like what we've seen in the community goals, if you're within the top tier, so that's the top 25% of contributors to a system that moves out of a particular state, then you'll receive 20 materials of 6 different types, thus totaling 120 materials. And those materials are going to be random. Now, here's the thing. This will come into effect with the Lakon Type 8 update, or 18.08. So now let's talk about the engineering rebalance. Well, this is what it comes down to. Frontier have increased the material availability at grade 4 and 5 farming locations. What this basically means is that you're going to get more materials. Now in the past, if you were looking at picking up materials from an area, say it was one of those signal sources, unidentified signal sources, you drop in and you might find a couple of canisters and say some materials. Now those materials will be worth say 3 fragments each, and these are called micro resources. Now you get between 3 and 6 fragments of those micro resources in total. What they've done now is they've increased the amount of scoopable items or limpet items in that particular area, and they've increased it to 30 to 100 micro resources. So there's a lot more. Now, what does this mean? This means that farming micro resources is going to become a hell of a lot easier. Frontier also gave examples of crashed anacondas where you do have materials to be picked up there, those canisters that you can explode, the spewing forth more materials. There's Jameson's crash site as well, which will have additional items there in it to pick up as well, some additional scan sites, therefore giving you more micro resources. Now, when doing missions, what they've also said is they've upped the value of say a maximum between 5 and 6 resources that you'll get. You can now get up to 24. So if you're going for say manufacturing instructions and you've got a nice mission for 5, you could now have a nice mission for 24. Now wouldn't that be something? And that's really going to spam on to what they've done in regards to the engineering of Odyssey on-foot engineered suits. More on that in a minute. Frontier have recognised that they feel that the requirements were exactly too high in Elite Dangerous Odyssey and too random for the ship recipes when it comes to getting your engineering upgrades engaged and put onto the modules. So they've addressed this in a number of ways. Now, engineering is no longer random when you spin for a blueprint. Maybe it'll take 1 spin or 2 spins, and if you're really unlucky, 3 spins. But what they've done now, for example, that if you're at grade 5 rank with this particular engineer, let's say it's Felicity Farseer, it'll be 1 spin for a grade 1 blueprint, 2 spins for a grade 2, and so on. If you're less than grade 5, it'll be more spins, but it won't be random. And they have indeed given us a little table. Right, strap in, here's the table. So as you can see, right, at grade 5, a grade 1 will be 1 spin. At grade 2, 2. At grade 3, 3. At grade 4, 4. At grade 5, 5 spins. You know how many spins it's gonna be. Now, Obviously, if you're less than grade 5, it's going to take more spins. Frontier developments have also turned around and tweaked the unlock requirements for engineers as well. For example, good old Kit Fowler, you needed 10 opinion polls, now you only need 5. For Yard and Bond, it was 8 smear campaign plans, now you only need 5. Hero Ferrari, he needed settlement defence plans, and they were like rocking horse manure. You need 15, now you only need 5. And good old Wellington Beck, Cat Media, Classic Entertainment or Multimedia Entertainment, you only require 15 in total. So, all good stuff. So there you have it. So far so good on the engineering. But that is not all, because they then turned their attention to on-foot Odyssey suits. And they were saying that there is a problem. They want people to be bound to the engineering of one suit because it took an awful lot of time to get those engineering materials, and it was a bit of a bind. So they recognise this, and the best way to do that is they've tweaked the number of materials each suit can carry. So first up, for my favourite suit, the Maverick suit. You can do anything you want in that. Goods capacity, as standard, is up from 15% to 40. The amount of assets you can carry is up from 30 to double to 60. And data capacity is up double from 10 to 20. Now, what this is going to do to the engineered types of this, we're going to have to wait and find out in game. Now moving on to the Artemis suit, the Explorer's suit of choice, shall we say. Goods capacity up from 10 to 20, assets 20 to 40, and data capacity has basically stayed the same at 10. However, when we go on to the next suit, the Dominator suit, you'll say, hang on a minute, what are we possibly going to be doing that's going to require goods capacity to go from 10 to 20% and asset capacity going from 20 to 40%? Unless they're going to bring something else into the game. Hey, could that be on-foot mining perhaps? Interesting stuff. Who knows? But I looked at this and I thought, Anyway, let's talk about the Dominator suit now. Now the Dominator suit has seen a little bit of love as well, but nowhere near the rest of the other suits. And you think, well, what have Frontier got it in for the Dominator suit? Yes, goods capacity has doubled, asset capacity has doubled, and data has stayed the same. And you think, well, okay, but surely you want to be picking up more stuff in a Dominator suit than you would in an Artemis suit. Strange things, I tell you. Strange things could be afoot at the Circle K. We're going to have to wait and see how this game progresses. So with the on-foot engineering, Frontier did recognise the fact that the suits and the engineering of the suits was a bit of a laborious grind, and people were concentrating on one or two suits as opposed to having different suits engineered up for different units. Much like what we do with our ships these days. You may have a Titan bomber, you'll have your favourite trader, you'll have your favourite PvE. And that's, I think, what Frontier want to do with the Odyssey suits. Either way, it's going to make things a little bit easier to get materials. You're going to be getting a lot more materials, they're going to be a lot easier to pick up and collect. And the game should not be too much of a grind. Now, here's the thing. I think people are going to say, oh, well, that's all the gameplay gone now. Totally gone. It's not even a grind. What's the point? Well, that's going to be some people, and you can't please everyone. This is going to make the game more accessible for people, but you got to ask, ooh, what are we going to need all these additional materials for? What's coming? Excitement and tension is building, but this is the engineering rework that Frontier have promised to us in Frontier Unlocked all those months ago. And I'm quite impressed. You let me know in the comments if you're still with me. Do you think these engineering changes are for the better? And if you do, tell me why. And if you don't, hey, have a good old moan about it and tell me why you think it's terrible. Either way, I've been Ricardo. Thanks very much for watching this video on the engineering rebalance in Elite Dangerous Odyssey. Like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Check out the streams on the weekend, and I'll see you soon.